Well, I've been an activist most of my life. I was educated in the 60s, in the late 60s, and active in various, anti-war movement, and was involved in the Catholic left at that time, the Berrigan Brothers and other campaigns. So you can pretty much say, for like a lot of people in my generation, I mean, I was in college from 67 to 71, which were very good years to be in college.
Yeah.
And so I've pretty much been an activist all my life.
Right. When did you hear about squatting in the Lower East Side? When did that become part of your awareness?
Well, I never actually heard about it. I was living in the Bronx, the South Bronx at the time. This was late 70s, early 80s, and I was engaged there in the occupation of a couple of buildings, 281, 283 St. Anne's Avenue, and that was the first experience that I had with direct occupation, renovations, and defense of vacant property.
Were you around for the Young Lords Lincoln Hospital moment?
Yeah, well, I was in college at that time, but the Operation Move-In was 1971, I think it was, in East Harlem, where the Young Lords. The reason I know this is because when I was living in the Bronx in the late 70s, a lot of the friends that I had were members of the Young Lords Party, and they were involved in the work we were doing then.
Right.
But there's a film, Operation Move-In, which recounts this history. They took over a church and some other spaces there, and organized on a grassroots level to clean up the neighborhood and this kind of thing. But basically the squatting for me began in the Bronx, and then because I'd grown up in the Lower East Side, I wanted to come back down and just return to where I grew up.
Right.
So we came back down. I came here in about 84, 85. And we hooked up with some folks who were interested in squatting down here, and there was kind of a grassroots upsurge. It wasn't like it really needed to be organized so much as kind of networked, because there were all kinds of different groups of people who at the same time, and it was a happy meeting of artists and activists and local people, displaced people, runaway youth. Just a real mixed bag, typical Lower East Side. Unlike the Bronx, which was 100%, local community people of color, most primarily Puerto Rican and African American people there, 100%. But here it was just very eclectic bunch of people and so on. So we proceeded to occupy somewhere between 85 and 90, around 30 buildings. And did everything that's necessary that one would assume to get those buildings in shape, from entering into them and then defending them against the police with barricades and all that sort of thing, and renovating them and sharing skills and learning new skills and so on and so forth.
Where does mutual aid fit into? I mean, once you've used direct action to occupy a space.
Well, the whole thing is based on mutual aid. You can't lift a beam to fix a roof by yourself.
Yeah.
You can't defend the building. If you're in a building, you and three of your friends, and a bunch of cops show up, there's not a whole lot you can do. But our Eviction Watch network, for instance, enabled us to call out people from various other buildings who would come to support you. So mutual aid really defined the whole nature of the movement.
Yeah.
It was not a principle that we chose. It was a necessity.
Yeah. You
just couldn't really function without working together. And those who were not capable of that really fell by the wayside. I mean, they weren't part of the movement. There's no parking.